everything in existence you're going to find deals, again, vibration, frequency, sound. It all goes back to energy and consciousness. Now, we've all seen cymatics. With cymatics, they basically use vibration and sound. They use frequency to create these patterns, to create these shapes. So we have this consciousness, we have this energy, we have this frequency and vibration creating the material physical world. Now, talked about Satan. Satan being the lower brain. Satan being the god of the material physical world. So, what was Satan's job in heaven? Now, in Ezekiel, it talks about the 4 cherubs that was in the throne room of God, in the corners of the throne room of God. And Satan's job was basically the cherub that covereth, as it talks about in Ezekiel. So Satan's job was basically to cover the throne of God. He basically was to usher in the congregation and basically have the congregation basically worship God. Now, Ezekiel says that in his being, as I talked about in Ancient History Volume 1, we went through this, and Ezekiel talks about in his very being were basically tabrets and pipes was built into his very being. And tabret, of course, I talked about, it's basically like a small drum. They have different tabrets, but it's basically like a drum. It really goes back to colonial times and before that, where you have a person with a tabret basically play the drum to basically keep on step the person playing the fife, which a fife is like a small flute. But it denotes sound, music being played. So you're talking about music in his physical being, pipes, drums. When you think about pipes in somebody's physical being, you think about these pipes being their what? Their organs. Organs. So organs have pipes. And it's not a coincidence or a play on words that organs sound the same as an organ, which is a musical instrument. They know what they're doing. They did this with the English language for a reason. And it's, the same reason why you see when somebody's playing an organ, there's always something evil, Phantom of the Opera, or like a ghost of somebody playing the organ to denote, evil, something evil. But it has pipes. Now, when we say a person has pipes, they can blow, they can sing. This is what we mean. Now, you have to understand your vocal cords is basically a 2-band tissue in your larynx. Your larynx is in the top of your trachea, which your trachea is basically your windpipes. Your windpipes. So you have air from your lungs that passes through your vocal cords that creates this, unique sound. That unique sound, of course, is the sound of you, your voice. You have a different voice, different from everybody else. So when this air passes through your vocal cords, they vibrate. Vibration to give you your unique sound. So when you go back to Satan and you think about, what was Satan's job? He had these musical instruments built into him and what have you. His job had to be choir director. He was the choir director. He ushered in the congregation to praise God. How do they praise God in church today? With song. They sing. This was Satan's job. This is what it's alluding to in the Bible. Remember, they give you subtle clues and tips, little hints. They don't give you 100% clarity, but when you pay attention, this is exactly what it's talking about. So when you understand that, Satan's job was music. Music. You understand now about the music industry and why it's surrounded by Satanism and all these so-called Illuminati, satanic codes or what have you. All this stuff goes back to this, the understanding of this knowledge or what have you. But when you see it and you understand how, Satan goes back to material, you can understand why people say material is evil. People are consumed with the materialistic world and materials. People will kill for it. People do unspeakable things to get money, to get material, to get fame so they can get these things. People are attached so much to the material, physical world, and it's all due to deception. And understand when we look at what this stuff is tied to, it's tied to the music that's putting out this culture. It all goes back to satanic things, to Satan. So when we talk about frequency and vibration, we talk about the manipulation of sound and how it's basically controlling people. You understand what controls this stuff? Material. Material goes back to material. It goes back to these corporations that's controlling the material. So when I showed you about how all these corporations, you see the celebrities throw up the eye, throw up the hand signals, or what have you to show their fidelity. But you see the corporations put up Saturn. They put, they hide satanic things within their logos to show you what they down with, that they are the bringer of these materialistic things, representing the materialistic world. Satan, materialism. This is where all this stuff goes back to. Now, all this stuff couldn't exist if it wasn't for the government, who's at the top of all of it, regulating and allowing all these corporations and companies to exist under them. You can't get no corporation and get your stuff incorporated and get your stuff out there without the government. You have to pay taxes. You have to do certain things. You got to pay the boss. Who are they paying their money to? They're paying it to the government. The government is at the top. As I said, the government is God. The government is Satan. I mean, think about it. Why the hell would the Bible say that Satan is the God of this world? Think about that. That's stupid. Why would it say that? Didn't God just create this world? And God, God is God. How can Satan be God? I don't get that. So a lot of people don't let this stuff sink in because they are so bamboozled by the lie and all the fairy tale stories of the Bible. They don't stop and think, why the hell would you call Satan a God? Why would you put him on the same status and level as God himself? Wait a minute. Don't we call God God? Why would we call Satan God? They're not the same. God created Satan. What's going on? And people can't fathom this. It all goes back to Satan controlling the material, physical world that we live in. So we can look at this thing and say, well, so what? Frequency and vibration, they're talking about Satan. Satan is not real. We get it. Yeah, it goes back to frequency and vibration. But this stuff is deeper than you can imagine. Deeper than you can imagine. And the fact that so much emphasis is put on Satan and his deception and what he represents, it doesn't get any more evil and bad than Satan. Not to say that frequency and vibration is bad, because it goes back to energy, it goes back to you. You are Satan. You are frequency and vibration. So understand that. It's why they're using Satan and saying this dude is the worst being of all ever. Even though he's fictional, he still represents that. And you got to understand, when you believe in something, if everybody believe it, then it basically is real. It comes true. Plain and simple. And that's something we'll touch on. But even though he's not, and you have people that's skeptical about his existence, it is what it is. Nonetheless, what he represents goes back to these things, and it's basically a danger warning for a reason about Satan, which we're going to get into, because you got to understand. So one, you have vibration, frequency, energy, all out there traveling throughout the cosmos, all throughout our physical material world, everywhere. We are transmitters, we are receivers, and we are receiving and transmitting these frequencies that is all everywhere, that is all over the place. And we transmit this stuff and we decode it into basically what we call our senses, hear, taste, touch, smell, or what have you. And this is how we decode this information. So now all this stuff is what? Electrical signals interpreted by the brain, just like Morpheus said. And that's all it is. Remember, energy. Vibration, all this stuff is electrical signals. This is what we get interpreted by the brain into what we call our senses. Taste, smell, touch, sight, or what have you, all that stuff. We'll get into that a little bit more deeper. But that's what it is. So they're using all this stuff against us. Now, when you transmit all this information, you're transmitting it right into your consciousness, and it's being stored within your subconscious, whether you understand that or not. Whether you consciously understand what you just took in or not, your subconscious does, and it's storing this information, and it's in there. So, as I said, this stuff goes back to music, sound. They are controlling us with visualization and stimulation of music, stimulation of these visual things, things that we desire, things that our hearts desire. That's a huge thing when people say that, if they really understand what it means, which we'll touch on. But it's a big thing. So we have this stimulation. We have this music that we have been listening to all of our lives. Now, how many of you have heard about the controversy between the music frequencies? That's a big thing. A lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't know what this stuff was about. But I'm going to settle the whole thing right here, because you'll see about it as you go into studying what we're talking about here, after you do your own research, of course. Now, you have the whole argument that 432, which is the normal frequency for music, 432 hertz. 432 hertz supposedly being transformed into 440 hertz. And you have a lot of people complaining about that, saying they don't sound the same, or they're doing this to mess with our frequency, they're doing this to mess with our minds, or what have you. And a lot of people are obsessed with the 432 and the 440. So now the 432 hertz is supposed to resonate with the earth, with love. It's supposed to resonate with our DNA. It's supposed to resonate with so many different frequencies. 432 is supposed to resonate with the pyramids. It's supposed to resonate with Stonehenge and so many different things. The sun, the moon, so many different things we find 432 in. It is a resonant frequency that we resonate with, that we dealt with since the beginning of time. It's a amazing frequency. And 432, when you add it up, it's 9. 4 plus 3, 7 plus 2, 9. So 9, what is that? And that's a huge deal that we're going to get into that some of you probably know about, but probably not as deep as we're about to go into now. So 9 is the most significant number in the universe. 9 has existed long before we ever call it 9. 9 represents the divine completion. 9 is the end all be all, because once you are completed, so shall you be. So 9 is called a divine completion. 9, we know, is the last number in the counting system. You have 1 to 9, 0, 0, and then that's it. Everything else, of course, is a combination of those numbers. So 9 represents divine completion. 9 is the most significant number. 9 is everywhere. So now, when I first started studying Nikola Tesla, which was a long time ago, if it wasn't for Tesla, it wouldn't be a Merkabah, put it like that, as far as me having that name, which I'll talk about. But Tesla did so much. Tesla was a genius. It's not too many people that come close to what this dude discovered. And what this dude discovered is mind-boggling when you understand it to its totality, which is why they let him rot away in a fucking hotel room, and they basically made sure he could not get any of his inventions really off the ground, that he could not unleash the unbelievable knowledge that he had, that he learned from your ancestors, from the Egyptians. So, of course, at the top of my list would, of course, be, the Egyptians. Tesla gave us a lot, but he gave us basically what our ancestors left for us in Kemet that's still waiting for us today to discover, which is why I study Kemet so hard, because it's all there. But Tesla is a key into all of that, which you'll understand as we go along. But when you get into the information that the universe is numbers, when you get into all that and you start understanding what that stuff really means, and it start blowing your mind, you're going to start finding something with Tesla about the Tesla codes. You have the Tesla codes, the 369 codes. You have the 9 codes. You have all this stuff that's going to start getting into vortex math. This is all crazy stuff that we'll get into down the line eventually. But it basically goes back to Tesla, goes back to the ancient Egyptians and what Tesla has discovered about the Egyptians. So now Tesla is studying, all of this stuff, and he understood about vibration and frequency and sound, and that this stuff goes back to numbers. And obviously, of course, the powers that be did as well, which is why they stifled them. But when he started getting into this stuff, he found out some interesting things about the pyramids in Giza. Now, when you get into all this stuff with the ancient Egyptians, it all goes back to the number 9, and I'll explain in a little bit what it has to do with music in the 432 hertz. Because it all matches up. It all goes together. It's really deep. So, with ancient Kemet, of course, they knew about 9. Tesla understood this. And it's a lot of freaky stuff that we already know about the number 9. Again, as I said, it is the end of the counting system. 9 is just end. Everything else is extra numbers. But we also know that any number times 9 equals 9 when you add all the numbers together, except 9, it equals 36, which 3 plus 6 equals 9. You have a circle, which is 360 degrees. 3, 6 equals 9. Half of a circle, which is 180, 180 equals 9. Half of that, which is 90, you have 9. Half of that, which is 45, You have 4 and 5 equals 9. If you keep going down, you're going to keep finding 9. So, you have half of 45, which is 22.5. Half of that, which would be 11.25. 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 5 gives you 9. You want to keep going, we go half of that, which would be 5.625, which equals 18. 1 and 8 is 9. We can keep going down and down and down. In every instance, you will find half of will always equals 9. It always equals 9. So we've seen the documentaries about the pyramids, and they talk about the speed of light and what have you, and all these other things that they have put into the Great Pyramids. So we look at the speed of light, which is 186,282, which if you add those numbers together, you'll get 27. 2 and 7 equals 9. We equal 9 if you do the 666. 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. 666 gives us 18, gives us 9. You are carried for 9 months. Woman, she's carried a baby for 9 months. So we find 9 everywhere. And it's so deep that a lot of people have absolutely no clue where this stuff goes. Now, also, if you put it in any kind of symmetrical shape, like a square or a triangle or octagon into a circle, every single one of those angles at every point will equal to 9. I mean, it's crazy. It's mind-boggling. When you look at the flower of life, the tree of life, all the angles, everything, all equal 9. It's mind-boggling when you think about it. So when you think about consciousness moving, when they show you the creation of, the tree of life, the flower of life, or what have you, they always show you the circle. And that's 9 right there. And when consciousness moved and created the next step, and I showed you guys this in the energy video, we have 9. All of those breakdowns is going to give you 9. It's something that's completely amazing. So, Tesla, in studying, pyramids, Tesla figured out that the pyramids, of course, were energy generators, plain and simple. Energy generators that not only generated energy, but they produced sound. They had a concentrated frequency and vibration and produced sound because of the acoustic properties of the pyramids themselves. I just came out of the pyramids when I was in Kemet, and I was up there in the acoustics room. Unfortunately, my phone overheated and I couldn't record anything. I think everybody's phone overheated, and you couldn't bring cameras in that place. But it's amazing. And you can make noise and you can hear it, and it vibrates, crazy. It's an unbelievable experience. But he took all of this information and he said to himself, well, this stuff it's an energy fucking generator. So that's what it is. These people had wireless energy. They understood 9. As I said, studying Tesla is how I came up, is why I use Merkabah. One, when you take a tetrahedron, you take one tetrahedron, you take 2 tetrahedrons. First tetrahedron is basically like a 3-sided pyramid when you look at it. You have one that fits into a pyramid shape, but when you take 2, you not only get a shape that can fit perfectly, inside of the Great Pyramid, but it creates a Merkabah. So you have a Merkabah that can fit inside of the Great Pyramid. This Merkabah has 8 vortices. When you add those vortices together, you get 36, which 3 and 6 equals 9. If you look at my YouTube channel, if you go there, it's been youtube.com/Merkabah9. And I put that there for a reason. But that being said, Tesla came to the conclusion that the pyramids were harmonious, that they put out a frequency that resonated with everybody near it, all 3 pyramids. So the society in Kemet, when the pyramids was at full capacity and generating this energy, these negative ions, and this frequency, they were picking up this frequency and sound that resonated with everybody. And it was like a harmonious frequency that kept everybody in good health, good mental capacity, that kept everybody focused. There was no problems, no issues. All the people was on basically the same harmony, the same wavelength. And this is exactly how they describe Atlantis. So it's crazy when you start getting into the information, you start thinking about it. This is what they was talking about with Atlantis. But when you actually see the physical properties existing within the pyramids themselves, this is why you had a lot of people say where the pyramids came from, Atlantis. So now in measuring the frequency coming from the Great Pyramid, the frequency, of course, was 4-3. 432 hertz. 432 hertz, which 432 equals 9. Now, and understanding that, and looking at the pyramid of Khafre, the pyramid of Merkabah, and understanding that they all was designed to resonate with each other and put out different frequencies. Now, 432 is found in the polar radius and circumference of the Earth in relation to the height and radius of the Great Pyramid. So, again, these numbers, 432, resonate with so many different things with the Earth itself and so many other things in nature and existence. So, of course, when Tesla seen this, he kept digging. So you have the Great Pyramid resonating at 432 hertz, which would be the Great Pyramid of Khufu. Then you have Khafre at 218 hertz, and you have Merkabah at 108 hertz. All have that's designed to basically resonate with each other to put out this frequency, this harmonious frequency that is generating energy, creating negative ions, and basically putting out a frequency that's resonating with everything, with everybody. So this was something that just is completely amazing, that blows people away, which is why, of course, they had to destroy them. Whatever destroyed the pyramids, one, to the point where they wasn't built, whatever happened back then, whatever that war was to do exactly what we are experiencing right now. It was for the sole purpose of what is taking place in our existence today. And you have to think about that. What the fuck is that? What is that? Because to me, when I look around the world and I see that pyramids were all over the planet and they were doing the exact same thing and putting out this energy, this vibration and frequency, and what kind of world where anybody that's a human will want to stop this from happening? This is something that we all needed to help the planet, that basically got rid of all of our problems, that had everybody in harmony and working together. What happened? What could have disturbed that? Now, the thing is, when you take Khafre and you multiply it by Khufu, which would be 432 times 216, you get 93,312, which when you add all those together, you get 18, 1 and 8 equals 9. When you do the same thing with Merkabah, you get 108 times 432, which add those numbers together, you get 27, 2 and 7 equals 9. Now, if you want to keep going and break it down in half like we did with the circle, if you want to go down to, let's say, 54 hertz, you go 54 times, which 54 would be half of 108. You go 54 times 432, which will give you 23,328. 18, which will equal 18 when you add those together. 1 and 8 equals 9. Half of that, which would be 27. And first of all, 54 equals 9. 216 equals 9. 108 equals 9. That's another thing. So the frequencies themselves equals 9. Forgot about that part. But if you keep going from 27 and breaking it down, you will always end up at the number 9. So 27 times 432 would be 11, 66, 4. Add them together, you get 18. 1 and 8 equals 9. So on and so forth. So the numbers multiplied by 432 gives us 9. 9 is everywhere. It's all in this stuff. If you have not, after you finish watching, if you have not seen the movie 9, which 9 came out 9909, that's 3 nines. 9 times 3 is 27. 2 and 7 equals 9. These people put this stuff here for a reason. If you look at the cover, he has a wireless staff with a light bulb at the top. It's transmitting wireless energy to this bulb. And it's talking about 9. We know that wireless energy goes back to Kemet, has that staff in his hand, he has the number 9. Definitely a movie you should watch. It's a pretty deep movie. After you see this movie, and if you watch my videos and everything like that, then you'll get that movie. When I first seen it, of course, I didn't get it. But when I watched later on, it just blew me away because I had the knowledge to basically decode the movie. Deep shit in that movie. Definitely watch. As I said, they put the stuff in movies, not for you. You're supposed to just get the story, not the hidden meaning and what they're trying to tell you about the number 9. So now a lot of people, as I said, was concerned about the 432 frequency, the 432 hertz frequency in music being switched to 440 hertz frequency, and that's somehow disrupting the harmony and disrupting everything that is in balance with the universe, because the 432 hertz frequency, equals 9, and 9 resonates with basically everything in the universe, and changing that would be a problem.